back, everyone. I'm 100 Visions Guy, and I'd like to pick up exactly where we left off the last time. We left off running this function called printf, and it stands for print format. And so we talked a little bit about it, but what we didn't talk about is the fact that this is a built-in function. It's part of PHP. Now, a function is basically, it's like a mini program within your program. It takes a task or a job that you would like to do, and it makes it so that you give it a name, and then you run a little parentheses, and sometimes you give it information, like here, and sometimes you don't. And so it either accepts information, and then it will do something, and possibly even output your information. So what I would like to do now is take a look not at the built-in functions, but let's learn how we can make our own functions. So we're going to look at 3 different ways to write and then, of course, call a function. So in order to do that, we're going to go up to the top because I like to write all my functions at the top. So it's a good idea to define your function before you call it. So by putting it up here before we're even in the HTML document, it's going to make sure that we won't try to call a function that hasn't been created yet. We're going to define some functions. And we start by writing the keyword function, and then we're going to give it a name. Now I'm going to call this one Jack. Okay, and you'll see why in a moment. So we give a name for the function, and then we're going to use parentheses. We always have to have parentheses. Now, what we put into parentheses would be if we needed information in order to run this function, we would insert it here in the form of variables. For now, we're not going to do that. We're going to do one that actually does not require any information to run. And so now I put my little curly brace. I like to tab it over for readability. And I'm going to do an echo statement. And that is all fun and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I don't know if you've seen The Shining. Creepy scene. But there we go. Now, the point of a function, which is really nice, is it's reusable code. And a good function performs one main job and does it well. So this is not a very good name for a function, but at least gets us what we need. Okay? Now, we have to follow the same naming format as our variables. So I can't start with the number. I can't put spaces in the middle. But here we have it. So I'm going to create another header too. What Jack wrote. And now we're going to create our PHP tag. And we are going to, now I'm going to hit I'm going to hit enter a few times. And what I'm going to do now is call the Jack function. So let's go ahead and run it. And right now we see all fun and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And then our link goes right after it. So one of the things that we could do is we could echo in our function here, we could put a paragraph in there if we wanted to. But if you ever saw the movie, that is not what happened. And what you see here now is we're calling this function multiple times. Now, at the beginning, writing it as a function took 3 lines of code, and that was kind of a pain. But the moment we call it 2 or more times, we've just saved ourselves a lot of extra coding. And now we start seeing this playing itself out. Okay, so that's calling a standard function. It's a very simplistic way of creating a function, right? We define it up here, and then we run it. But what if we want something that's a little more powerful? What if we actually want some information? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write another function, and this one is going to be an insult function. Now, this particular one is going to insult a specific person using a couple different variables to allow for a more robust insult. So I'm going to give it. Now, the interesting thing about this is that when we create our functions, okay, we can create variables right inside. And what we name these, they do not have to exist outside of the function because they actually, technically, they don't. I'm going to do verb, and we're going to do noun. Okay, so this is the function insult. So what we want to do here is we're going to do the printf. See, I knew there was a good reason why I did that. And we're going to go ahead and do it as a paragraph tag, and we're going to go ahead and add a strong tag. This might be a little bit rude, so, you know, hey, take it with a grain of salt. And then we're going to put, now all of these we're going to treat as strings. So, hey, comma, %s. Oops. Okay, my keyboard is messing with me. %s, exclamation mark. U, %s, like a %s. Period. Okay, now what we do is we're going to put a comma here. And now I'm going to hit enter because I'm running out of space here, and I don't think it's a good idea to write your code making it too long of a line. And we're going to put name, verb, noun. Okay, so there's our printf, and that's the calling of the insult. And so now we're going to run our insult function. And I apologize because my function is written up there. So for the video, maybe I'll take a screen picture of this and just hover it so you can see it while I code it. An insult. So now I need my PHP tag and insult. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you. Hey you, see what I'm doing there? All right, we'll put code monkey. So you see what happens here. So let me just show you running it. I'm going to put it up here so you can see how these go together. So defining the function determines how it works and behaves. Okay, so we're going to capture a name, a verb, and a noun, and we're going to insert them into the strings using the printf function. So we take the name, insert it here. We take the verb, insert it here. We take the noun, insert it there. See how that works? Then when we call it, we just pass it information that allows us to, again, run an insult. So we did it on here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to comment this out for now, and I'm going to run it. And it moved my window up here, so let me just get that down. Hey, you code like a monkey. There's our insult. Okay, so that's how it works. You write your function, you figure out what information you need to run it, and then you determine what it does, and then you're done. So that's how I called the function on here. And we're just about out of time. Let me show you one more thing called a return statement. I'm going to get a formula, and we're going to create a function that computes a formula. Here's our function that we're going to do. It's a very simple formula. I'm going to solve for the area of a parallelogram. And it's very easy. It's area equals base times height. Very simple. You thought it was going to be more complex than it was, didn't you? But if you remember your geometry class, we just carve out a slice here. We move it to the other side. It's a rectangle. Okay, let's do it. So we define our function on here. Function. Area of parallelogram. Did I spell that right? 2L. Oh, yeah, he gets it right. We just need base and height. And now we're going to create a new variable. We're going to call it sum. Oh, we'll call it area. Why not? Area equals base times. You use the little asterisk to multiply. That's height. Let's just go ahead and copy it right here. Bam. Now, we're going to do something different. We're going to return that information. Okay? And so we use the return keyword. and it's going to process this information. It's going to return the value. So let's code it real quick. For time's sake, I went ahead and coded it out for you. I make a paragraph. I go ahead and create a variable called a, and I set it to area of parallelogram, and I give it a base of 10 and a height of 20. And then I put the area of a parallelogram using the printf function with the base of s and a height of s is s. So it's 10, 20, and a, which captured the sum. So it should be 200. So I go to run it. And then when I see it, the area of a parallelogram with a base of 10 and a height of 20 is 200. So it works. So as you can see in our functions, we can receive information, but we can also return information out. And that allows us to do calculations and things like that, such as you see right here. Also, I want to point out that on the printf, we can give it literal values of numbers here as well. All right, well, I hope this makes a lot of sense, and I wish you the best of luck as you are coding your projects and your pages. And I will see you later.